Look, are you getting sick and tired of paying more every single month to just get less? Because you're definitely not alone. Because do you remember the massive glittering promise of the early 2010s? We were told with absolute unwavering certainty that we were entering a digital utopia and we were finally going to be able to cut the cord. No more paying for bloated cable packages, no more paying for $50 worth of absolute garbage for 50 channels you don't ever watch, and most importantly, no more unskippable commercial breaks. That value proposition was rather simple, and at the time it was irresistible. For a flat, aggressively subsidized, and totally reasonable monthly fee. Sounds like it was a utopia back then. Sort of, but no, absolutely not. It was a trap. For the better part of a decade, this digital subscription economy operated on a frictionless premise. Tech behemoths were bleeding money, operating at staggering financial losses, fueled by billions in venture capital, in a macroeconomic environment where borrowing money was just basically free. Why did they do all this? Well, they just wanted to lock you into their ecosystem. But here we are today. That utopian dream has finally quit. We traded our obvious and frankly in-your-face tyranny of the local cable monopoly for the invisible algorithmic tyranny of Silicon Valley and the subscription model. Today, we're paying more than ever to own literally nothing. We're watching advertisements on a platform we already pay premium prices for. We're watching our access to games, films, shows, media we thought we securely preserved in our digital libraries just vanish overnight. And the sick part is not just our screens anymore. This disease has crawled out of the digital realm and infected itself in our physical reality. There are now monthly fees to water your plants, to your sewing machine, and to turn the lights on your damn living room, or to even start your fucking car. The average consumer, this hidden toll is bleeding them dry, amounting to nearly $300 a month. A figure most people wildly underestimate by $100 usually, which is all until they look at their monthly statements and say, fuck. And they finally realize collectively that the house always wins. When you have a market that requires infinite growth, but the reality is that it's rigidly finite, what happens? Exactly that. Once subscriber acquisition hits its plateau, the only remaining avenue for revenue is to aggressively, parasitically extract the surplus value of the existing user base. And that's you. So today, we're gonna go down and tear this bitch down. We're gonna look at the math and the broken promises, the hardware hostages, and the inevitable breaking point of all these digital giants. Welcome to the hell that we've created as a society called the subscription trap. Let's start with the cold hard numbers, because corporate executives love to throw around the word value. For years, the foundational argument for the digital subscription was economic efficiency. The pitch for something like Xbox Game Pass or Netflix was absolutely driven hard with a massive sledgehammer into our skulls. Why bear the financial burden of buying a single movie or video game when you can rent access to thousands of these things all for a cup of coffee? Well, the price of that theoretical coffee has skyrocketed, and a rigorous breakdown of the market reveals that the core mathematical premise has entirely collapsed. Look at the data. Netflix is a pioneer in this model and has executed a relentless campaign of price inflation. A standard ad-free experience that cost $7.99 a month in the mid-2010s is now gone. You have to watch damn ads for that tier. You pay to watch damn ads these days. Today, the premium tier is the one you actually need if you want to watch modern shows in 4K without your eyes bleeding out from all the damn ads or porno interruptions for a eye-watering $24.99 a month. Which looks pretty easy on paper, but that's roughly $300 a year. And that's just all so you can watch and rot on the couch and watch Stranger Things and scroll your damn phone for 40 minutes before, I don't know, passing out drunk. On the other side, we have the video game industry. The most glaring example of this mathematical inversion is damn Microsoft's Xbox Game Pass, heralded as the best in gaming and was a good deal until Microsoft realized they had subsidized the entire industry and it's becoming unsustainable and a absolute burden. That led to consumers purchasing hardware like the Xbox Series X for $200 specifically to act on that dedicated Xbox Game Pass machine. We operated underneath the incredibly naive assumption that the low cost of entry would stay static forever, which it didn't. Then reality materialized. Microsoft slammed consumers with a staggering 50% price hike for its premium tier, dragging the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate to $30 a month. Alright, for those people who are still sticking around to get fisted for $30 a month, let's put this modern pricing architecture into perspective for you guys. Netflix Premium costs $300 a year. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate costs $360 a year. Amazon Prime is $139 a year. Just to get all of these services, which I used to pay for and got rid of before they turned into a complete shit show, you'd be paying $800 a year for this absolute bullshit. But seriously, what are you actually getting for that money? You get a temporary permission to access a digital buffet. But here's the psychological trick of the infinite library. You're paying for capacity you will never use. Because at $30 a month, the corporate justification relies entirely on the assumption that you are paying for a vast number of newly released, full-price titles every year. Microsoft boasts that Xbox Game Pass users average 18 titles a year. That's pretty good, but briefly booting up 18 titles on a subscription service is not the economic equivalent of buying 18 titles at retail. Let's be honest, the broader demographic data entirely contradicts this savings narrative. According to consumer research, 63% of video game players in the United States purchase 2 or fewer games a year. If you fall into that majority, which I'm sure a lot of you do, because some of you guys are going to be here for Netflix, some of you guys are going to be here for Prime, and not everyone's going to be here for Xbox Game Pass, you are paying about $140 a year for games. But if you pay for Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, you're spending $360 a year. Yeah, that's when it starts to break down. Because you are literally paying Microsoft a $220 premium every single year for the illusion of choice. For a full library of hundreds of games, you will probably just scroll past, maybe download, and at best play for 20 minutes at a time and then delete. Microsoft is essentially taxing the casual gamer to subsidize their own massive expenditures, like their crazy, stupid acquisitions of Activision Blizzard and Bethesda, and yeah, those are great ideas. Here's the absolute kicker. When you buy those 2 games outright, you hold a permanent license, or a physical disc. And when you stop paying for your $30 a month license to Microsoft, your entire $500 game library vanishes instantly. Because you literally spent $400 and you have zero equity to show for it. It's an economic equivalent to just renting out your living room furniture for the rest of your life. Alright, so if Xbox Game Pass represents the mathematical illusion of ownership, Amazon Prime represents the absolute death of the consumer experience. No corporate entity exemplifies the platform decay more than of Amazon. Amazon started as a humble online bookstore, and now it's an absolute juggernaut, and its infrastructure is literally the heart of the internet. So for the last 2 decades, Amazon operated underneath Jeff Bezos' famous mantra: obsessed, unwavering focus on consumer satisfaction. They were willing to hemorrhage billions of dollars in logistics just to ensure you got your damn cheap piece of shit in 2 days. And at the time, it truly felt like a cheat code for consumer life. Well, Bezos is gone, and under the current CEO, Andy Jassy, the transition from Jeff Bezos' Amazon to his is functionally complete. And that's where the brilliant technological theorist Cory Doctorow coined the term for this terminal life cycle. He calls it enshittification. Let's quote him here since I now have a teleprompter. Here's how platforms die. First, they are good to the users. Then, their users make things better for their business customers. Finally, they abuse their business customers to claw back all the value for themselves. Then, they die. And looking at Amazon, it's definitely in the terminal stages of this trajectory. Having successfully driven thousands of brick and mortar stores out of business and into the grave, the trap has swung shut. Today, Amazon boasts over 230 million suckers, I mean Prime members, who are feeling like they have to pay the mandatory fee for the privilege of buying things online. It's seriously if like Costco made their memberships optional and hundreds of millions of people thought it would be a great idea just to buy one for the kicks and shits. And with this, the squeezing has begun. The foundational argument for Prime has always been free shipping. But as always the case in this capital hellscape, free is a deception. A complete manipulative lie. Because it seems like many people don't realize that everything that's eligible for Prime shipping ships free to anyone, regardless of membership status, as long as you spend $35 or more. But seriously guys, look at your order history and decide whether or not if any of your orders under $35 were truly urgent. Because for most people, me included, that number is 0. Because those small items are perfectly fine sitting in your virtual cart until you actually need the stuff you wanted to order. Or God forbid, you could just put some damn pants on and go outside and buy that fidget spinner or whatever the fuck this is locally. I'm sure they sell them at Walmart. But the real fatal flaw in Prime isn't the fee itself. It's the fact that it's designed to level off high friction impulsivity. This results in hundreds of dollars worth of absolute shit being placed on your doorstep that is completely unnecessary garbage you don't need. It's gotten to the point where people are finding Amazon parcels on their front door porches and have absolutely no memory of when or how they ordered it, Most likely because they're really drunk, but I don't know. Maybe you bought yourself a tea kettle. You already owned a tea kettle. Why did you buy yourself a tea kettle? I don't know. It's there. You paid money, and you bought it through Amazon. Frictionless payments, frictionless buying experience. Because this extreme convenience is in architectural design. It's built to bypass your prefrontal cortex, and this one-click purchase button exists solely to stop you from thinking. Amazon has been studying and weaponizing behavioral science to turn you into a mindless consumer node. Behavioral studies have shown an inverted Costco effect. The more you pay for a membership, the more you subconsciously are pressured to feel like you gotta get your money's worth. If you order one item a month, you feel like you've just been ripped off. If you order 20 frivolous purchases of useless junk you didn't need, your brain tricks you into thinking you got yourself a better deal. But Amazon isn't just a store, it's designed to be a psychological dependency. And meanwhile, the fundamental pillar of Prime, the ironclad of the guarantee of 2-day shipping, has been quietly evaporating. Because speeds are routinely slipping into the 5+ day periods now. And for search, that has completely collapsed. Because Amazon is no longer designed to connect you with the best products, it's designed to sell you your attention to the highest bidder. And that means 60% of search results are sponsored. Organic discovery has been suppressed, replaced by generic, private label trash. And those brands you see, they aren't brands. They're generic dropshipping middlemen buying cheap, poorly made garbage off Alibaba, and then wrapping it in plastic and sending it off to the Amazon warehouses for it to be fulfilled and sold to you at a massive markup. And now Amazon's marketplace is flooded with counterfeit goods and algorithmic ghost brands. And in a somewhat famous example, the company Flexi completely removed their products from Amazon entirely because of the massive amounts of absolute garbage counterfeit goods ripping them off. Alright, so let's talk about the most infuriating part of this whole entire ecosystem. How do we end up paying ransom fees for our own physical belongings? To understand this, we have to look at a small little company called Salesforce. Through the 1990s and the early 2000s, if you wanted Microsoft Word or Photoshop, you had to buy a physical CD-ROM. But tech was so-called advancing, and Salesforce positioned themselves as the anti-software. No big upfront cost, just a small monthly fee, and you always had the latest version. Software was no longer a product, it was a service, a SaaS, software as a service. Investors loved it, and consumer value plummeted. Adobe forced artists to pay $260 a year forever for a program that has fundamentally not evolved in its core toolset for over a decade. But then, the SaaS disaster crawled out of our screens. Because software can be used as a functional leash that gives a company control over an object long after you brought it home. Take a look at those damn HP printers. Imagine buying a brand new printer, it works flawlessly, you have $120 worth of ink inside of it, but then one day you go to print a shipping label and that printer refuses it, and it spits out a damn error saying printing method needs updating, cannot print with the cartridge installed. This is not a glitch, it's a feature. HP engineered their cartridges with network chips that phone home to HP servers. If you ever cancel your Instant Ink subscription, HP remotely sends a kill signal that permanently bricks that physical full cartridge sitting in your own printer at home. You don't own that ink you paid for. HP is renting you the right to spray it on your pages, right? And if it can happen to an $85 printer, it can happen to a $60,000 car. Because car manufacturers have been eagerly embracing this extortion technique. They install physical hardware into vehicles during manufacturing, bake the cost into the sticker price, and then lock the functionality behind a digital paywall. This happened most famously when BMW tried to charge drivers $18 a month just to turn on their heated seats that were already built into their cars. In my opinion, a worse scenario, Mercedes decided it'd be a great idea to lock faster acceleration behind a $1,200 yearly subscription. And of course, Tesla's gonna be the scenario that's straight out of hell because they force owners to pay $10 a month to access the internal navigation. And this has turned into the economic equivalent of being charged for gasoline and then being charged a monthly fee for the right to be able to burn it in your engine. I guess you can say this is innovation, but it's definitely pure, unadulterated fucking greed. And we're seeing this everywhere. This new smart bassinet, the Oura Ring, Ring cameras, expensive products that become useless plastic paperweights without an ongoing digital tie. And when that company goes bankrupt, your physical property dies with it. Nest bricked their $300 Revolve hub, Spotify bricked their car thing, and Juicero famously bricked their $400 juicers. And when Fisker filed for bankruptcy, thousands of people were left wondering if their $50,000 cars would just stop working when the servers inevitably went dark. If you guys remember the heydays of when your parents bought a toaster in 1995 and it became recalled and you were wondering, oh, when is it going to be bricked? Well, yeah, that would never happen because even if it was recalled and your parents couldn't be arsed to fucking send it back to the factory, it still worked. You were never locked out. And nowadays, these companies feel like they have the right to, if you are a good coder and bypass software restrictions to fix your own property, they see it as a federal crime under the DMCA. Yeah, that's a law passed in 1998 to stop DVD piracy, and it's now being used as a legal shield for corporations to use to lock you out of objects you legally bought. Everything being tied to software tethers has fundamentally rewritten the legal parameters of personal property. As we migrated to digital downloads, a subtle, devastating legal transition occurred, a total eradication of personal property rights in the digital sphere. For centuries, we had the first sale doctrine. Once you bought a book or record, the copyright holder's control was exhausted. You could lend it, resell it, burn it, anything you wanted. And since that's such a cool thing, the digital economy dismantled that. When you click Buy Now on Amazon Prime or PlayStation Store, you are participating in a deceptive legal fiction. You're not buying anything, you're purchasing a non-exclusive, non-transferable, revocable, limited license. You are a digital squatter at that point. And we're routinely reminded of this when a company like HBO Max yanks dozens of original shows off their platform, casting them into the digital ether as a tax write-off. Gone forever, no legal way to watch them. Another example for you gamers out there is when Ubisoft permanently deactivated the servers for the crew, running millions of physical discs instantly unplayable. But the consequences of this access over ownership model extend to the physical health of our planet. Amazon has engineered a system where physical ownership is temporary and disposable. Let's be honest, most of us use their hassle-free return policy. But when you return it back, that doesn't just go back on the shelf, it most of the time ends up straight up in a landfill. Because if that item costs under a certain threshold, it's better for Amazon to just throw those things out than it does to refurbish and resell them. Amazon returns are responsible for an astonishing 6 billion pounds of trash sent to landfills every single year. And because of that, the subscription model has no more room for sustainability. Let's look back at the time we cheered for the death of cable. It was prohibitively expensive and forced you into bundles and was littered with commercials. Streaming offered a la carte revolution, or at least it did. Every major studio has released their own built-in walled garden. And today, to get everything you used to have, you need Disney+, HBO Max, Paramount, Peacock, Netflix, Hulu, your mom's boyfriend. Now, those legacy cable bills you used to pay for have now climbed to $529 annually. But now it's worse than cable, and streaming services act as society's pacifiers, manipulating your time through designed binge habits. This immediate gratification loop has destroyed our brain's ability to regulate dopamine. Delayed gratification used to make things feel valuable. Waiting a week for a new TV episode built anticipation. Now, you sit down to watch one episode to unwind. It all plays into 5 suddenly, and now it's 2 a.m. and you're pissed and you're a bloated, self-loathing blob on your couch who is starting to hate yourself. Yeah, that's great. When a commodity becomes prohibitively expensive, fragmented, and degrades in quality, the market seeks an alternative. And today, that alternative is a complete rejection of the legal framework. Piracy isn't a crime wave, it's a market correction. And the ethics have shifted. Gen Z's rediscovery of piracy is staunchly anti-capitalist. To them, it's not about stealing art, it's about saving it. So here's your escape. I suggest you guys audit everything you're spending monthly on. Everything. Is this service truly impacting my life in any meaningful way? Do I truly need this? And if not, cancel it. Another thing I would suggest is buying physical media. Buy books. Step outside of your house and, breathe in air. Touch grass. It's out there. It's something you can do. So I guess what I'm saying here is vote with your own wallet. I pretty much say that in every single video, but in this case, vote with your wallet, alright? It will improve your finances, and it will improve the world greatly. And you'll be able to go outside again. No longer are you going to be a celibate wanker inside your house, you're going to be an outside wanker. Let's go. And guys, the reality is we cut the cord once. We saw a system that was absolute garbage, and we left it for another one. It's time to do the same thing here. And if you're tired of malicious corporate locks and you want to bring the power back to the people, I suggest you guys check out repair.wiki. Thanks for watching. Bitch.